Well, greetings from historic Holbrook, Arizona. Just standing out here taking a break in front of the historic Navajo County Courthouse, built in 1898 and now home to a visitor center and one of the coolest old Western museums you'll ever find. Not only is Holbrook a 100% authentic old Western cowboy town, and not only does it sit right on the edge of the Petrified Forest National Park, and look at this, even at the entrance to the courthouse from the sidewalk over here, you have absolutely massive petrified logs. But this town sits right smack dab on old Route 66 and has some of the coolest old signage, old motels, and old scenery on the western portion of the Mother Road. Historic Route 66 in Arizona. Probably my favorite part of the route, although I can never quite decide. Holbrook is one of those places that, although yes, it's a little rough around the edges sometimes, I've actually grown to love so much, I've even considered moving here. I don't know if I could be that far away from my mom though. But just look at this, you got the Rainbow Rock Shop right on Route 66 itself, one of the best and oldest places to buy petrified wood along the main street of America. This shop alone is worth coming to Holbrook for. Look at the fun pics you can take, especially with some of the coolest handmade custom dinosaurs on the route. Oh, you'll see this on Route 66 calendars, on postcards, on YouTube videos such as this one, for example. Just one of the coolest looking places ever, and a place I've bought petrified wood from several times, mostly for my mom. She deserves it. Shout out to Mom. But you also have these immaculately preserved old Western buildings that served as trading posts and restaurants and saddlers and undertakers and everything in between. I wasn't actually expecting to be in Holbrook today. I took this little journey on Route 66 to deliver some Randomland hot sauce to Cindy and Tony at the Jackrabbit Trading Post just down the road, where they're actually reviving another old historic trading post we thought was lost to history on their property in the last episode. And then they told me they were helping to run a historic bed and breakfast in Holbrook now, which I finished at the close of our last adventure. And so here I am, once again in Holbrook, Arizona, on the corner of Route 66 and Route 66, just across from the park where in the summer they have Native American dances for free. And there's just so many little shops and restaurants, both closed and open, revived, closed again, revived again. Trust me, I'm never sorry for an excuse to wander around Holbrook just for a little while. It's just great out here. You've got the historic train depot with trains cruising by, it seems like every 15 minutes or so. The old original Bucket of Blood Saloon, the first one in the West. This is where it all started. Old historic homes and old West buildings predating Route 66. Then of course there's Route 66 itself with the cutest little movie theater, which by the way could use your business if you come through on Route 66. The old abandoned battery shop, very photogenic against the railroad tracks, and one of only two places on the Mother Road where you could sleep in a wigwam. And guess where, if you pay to stay, you too, like I have done, can pee-pee in a teepee. Side note, this might be one of the coolest VW bugs I've ever seen. I love it with that hood on it. Was this a standard option or something custom? Because that is sick. I always wanted a VW bug. You used to be able to buy them for 500 bucks out of everybody's driveway. Tell cash for clunkers, man. No more bugs anywhere. They're like $6,000, $7,000. Now I'll never own a German automobile. Ah, look at this. Tow Mater's grandpappy. He's still out here. Again, I'm feeling pretty good too. So many amazing old cars. I've stayed in this one right here, number 3. I've stayed in number 2. I stayed on the other side at some point. I've stayed here a handful of times. Never regretted it. Any of the times I stayed. The Safeway is basically right across the street, so there's a grocery store over there. Get yourself a rotisserie chicken and just go to town. I'm glad I had this little bonus adventure right here on my trip. I thought I'd just be heading straight back home towards California. I was gonna try and stop and pull over and go to the Grand Canyon. It's a couple hours off the highway. And as I just mentioned to you, I've got to be heading straight home. And my earlier mission took me a little longer today than I thought it was going to, which was definitely not wasted time. I had a great time out at the Jackrabbit this morning. Now I've got to be heading home for my son's birthday, and then 4 days later, my birthday. By the time you see this, it'll probably be my birthday. Then I got to be leaving on a jet plane to parts unknown. That's the plan anyways. To me, no time spent on Route 66 is wasted time. I love every square inch, I feel like, of the Mother Road. Well, except maybe the parts that are in big cities. Those are a totally different vibe. I love supporting the business owners all along the route any way that I can. They've really come to feel like a like a family, like a community. Although that's very much an in-person thing. Don't join any Route 66 Facebook groups or you'll just get bummed out. And speaking of that, just speaking of the internet in general, this was just the break I needed to get out here on the open road for a couple of days, the main street of America, old Route 66 through Arizona. It's definitely done a lot to heal my soul after the memorial for my friend Adam the Woo, which we just passed. 'Cause for weeks and weeks leading up to that, we had to hear a lot of different opinions from people who didn't even have his phone number, let me tell you. Even ignoring a bunch of silly talk takes energy, and boy, it took more out of me than I expected. But this I feel like has fully recharged my batteries. Like I said, I brought some hot sauce out to Cindy and Tony out there at the Jackrabbit Trading Post. What I had totally forgotten about is that somebody who, I don't know if they want to remain anonymous or not, speaking of my friend Adam, left me a pair of Adam's old sunglasses. Now Adam collected dozens of these things when they were going out of style. Literally, they'd become his signature glasses for a long time. But then whenever he would move from California back to Florida or vice versa, he would sort of purge and sell all his possessions. And at some point he sent these to somebody and they decided very graciously that I should have them, which is a real honor. And the point of me telling you this is to just point out that I guess I will never escape. Not that I want to. I loved my friend very much. I was hoping to be on Route 66 and get a little break from reminiscing too much or talking about it too much, but seems to be my fate. And that's okay, because you know what? Like I said, I loved my friend. I'm very grateful for him. I wouldn't be out here, wouldn't be filming Randomland without him. So there's my little acknowledgement to my friend. And now, as short of a visit as it was, we gotta leave Holbrook and head back west on old Route 66. And I just hope that I'm not too late to check out something I really wanted to see on the old Mother Road. These last couple of episodes, we've been talking about revival after revival, whether it's Valentine's Station or Ellis Frontier. But there's been another revival on Old 66, just as epic, if not more so, considering all it's been through about an hour west of here. So I'm gonna make some tracks. All right, this is it. Let's just hope that it's still open. I've driven an hour and we've reached the one, the only, the restored Meteor City. This was a major landmark for me back when I was in a punk rock band touring across the country. We would often stop at the strange dome with the Mohawk right off the side of I-40, but unfortunately in 2012, Meteor City shut down. By the time I first got here to film it for Randomland in 2016, I think, the building had been totally abandoned. The front door was bashed in. It was just a total and complete wreck. And if you go back to that video, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Just a mess inside. But just a year later, a very inspired couple from Indiana, Michael and Joanne Brown, bought the property intending to restore it. Unfortunately, in 2022, Michael passed away. But then the property, after being cleaned up and re-vandalized and cleaned up and re-vandalized, was purchased by Dole Family Properties. Those are the people who run Crystal Cave in Springfield, Missouri, and Mr. Putter's Putt Putt in Atascadero, California. They purchased the slightly reborn Meteor City and brought it to full term, and it reopened in May of 2025. And not just the old dome that was once an old Texaco station, I believe, dating all the way back to the late 1930s, but they also built their own Meteor City ghost town out here. You can now do some Meteor City gemstone mining, and you can rent these pedal bikes to travel through their new drive-through attraction, Dino-drive, behind the ghost town here. And that is another thing. Meteor City was always famous for having weird dinosaurs outside, old dilapidated wooden teepees, huge dream catchers. There always were various outbuildings here and all kinds of strange stuff. You can see they're still restoring this one here. Oh, and just over the fence, we can get a little peek at the Dinosaur Drive, the drive-through attraction. Now, I don't know if this is still gonna be open today. We'll find out. I was really rooting for the Browns. They were definitely underdogs, trying to restore and reopen Meteor City. It's just sort of a mom and pop operation. It proved to be too much in the end, but without their hard work, who knows if this would have survived at all. So shout out to them, shout out to Ed Klein and the people from the Jackrabbit Trading Post and everybody else who helped them keep Meteor City alive. The last time I was in this building was 10 years ago, just looking at an abandoned wreck. I am so freaking excited to step back inside the Mohawk Dome, Meteor City. Oh, by the way, side note before I walk in, look at this. They got some Volkswagens out here you can paint on. All right, here we go. Oh my freaking gosh. Yeah. Dude, look at this, the flying saucer out here at Meteor City. So many souvenirs everywhere. Oh, I like this back here. Animal oddities, the freak show, and look at the size of this corpse right there. That gal is at least 2 alleys tall. Margaret the Mummy. The largest carnival mummy found in northern Arizona. Dude, and there's more oddities of every shape and size in here. You got Leonard the Neanderthal man. I was not expecting this. 2-headed alligators, 2-headed human babies, all kinds of strange fossils. The world's smallest woolly mammoth. Gifts, sodas, books, rideable dinosaurs. Oh my gosh, even the rotating counter is working now. So look at this, you got the Dino drive-thru for 15 bucks, the gemstone mining, shoot out the star. You can get BB gun shooting out here, paint a bug, catch a ducky, ride a dino. Meteor City has become a whole amusement park. Speaking of amusement parks, look at this model of the Palisades amusement park, currently under restoration, so nothing's moving at the moment, but apparently it does when it's working. You got this Jurassic Winds Hurricane Simulator. You got the old Test Your Skill Coke dealie. I love the strongman statue back in here holding up the fort, as it were. See what I did there? And hey kids, play with Peppy, the musical clown, and then best of all, freaking laughing Sal. These things are extremely rare and hard to find. And now there's a laughing Sal right on Route 66. She's laughing at me, just like all the kids in my elementary school. Oh my gosh, I never thought I would see Meteor City like this. Dude, I'm so stoked on this. Like I said, last time I was in here, it was all smashed glass, all forlorn and abandoned. It looked like it would definitely get torn down eventually. Oh, look at this. I didn't even see the little fairy over here, nor did I see the double human skull and the longest living 2-headed calf skull, the alligator turtle, and the pygmy mudman. This is so freaking exciting. Next time I come here, I'm gonna bring a whole bunch of quarters, but as it is, there's a historic sign right there. As it is. Because they stayed voluntarily open for an extra hour, just in case there were any of us stragglers on the road, and I have the opportunity, I sprung for the Dino drive-thru. 15 bucks. And hopefully a lifetime of memories. Okay, so they give you a little code on your receipt, much like a car wash code or something like that. You actually come back outside the fence, get back into your vehicle, and then around the side of Meteor City, there's a gate, you punch in your code, and then you get to drive through the drive-thru attraction. I easily picked the absolute worst time of day as far as lighting is concerned. And I could also see just from peeking over the fence, it's definitely a 2-sided attraction, and we're mostly gonna see what's out the driver's side of my car, but still, dude, nothing's gonna stop me. Oh, as long as I find the receipt, that is. All right, here we go. Pull up to this little gate, this little orange pole, type in the code. Good morning, I'm here. Look at this, it's working. What do they got in there, King Kong? Dude, if I wouldn't get a copyright strike, I'd be playing the Jurassic Park theme song for you right now. Dude, this is awesome. Oh yes, look at that, we got Tyrannosaurus Rex. We got the Brontosaurus up there. Yes, I'm gonna still call it Brontosaurus until I die. That's how I grew up. That's how I was raised. Got the Dilophosaurus right in front of us. Out to the side, we got a little Jurassic Jeep. I didn't know the Dilophosaurus was North America's first large meat-eating dinosaur. All I knew is that it liked to spit poison in Newman's eyes. We got the Dillong, the first tyrannosaur found with feathers. Ooh, that's interesting. There's a huge pterodactyl, a big old triceratops with the railroad running behind. Everybody always asks what my favorite dinosaur was when I was a kid. I don't know, T-Rex, triceratops. Until I found out about the Allosaurus. I just thought it sounded cool, right? The Allosaurus. I can't even read that right there. The Paracephalophorophilus, the Guanolong, the Ankylosaurus, which National Geographic and my dinosaur toys as a kid led me to believe were much, much larger than that. But maybe they didn't have time to build these dinosaurs to scale, right? Look at that dinosaur being attacked by other dinosaurs. Ooh, we've got some kind of animated pterodactyl thing going on, and then these velociraptors right here lived in desert environments. Now, I heard they were much smaller than they appeared in Jurassic Park. These are roughly Jurassic Park size. Look at this. That wasn't even in Jurassic Park. The Smilodon. Looks like you can't learn everything from the movies. I love this. This is freaking awesome. This is classic old American roadside tourist trap stuff. When I was growing up, my grandparents and my parents would use that as a pejorative, right? Ah, it's a tourist trap. But I'll tell you what, I'm grown up now and I spend my own money on so-called tourist traps all the time. And I would say most of the best memories of my adult life are because I sprung the extra cash for that thing that mom and dad didn't want to pay for when you were a kid. I'm not picking on my mom and dad, I just mean mom and dad in general, right? The royal mom and dad, the queen mothers and fathers. I love this because this is just a great way to lend extra support to a little business on the side of Route 66 and to actually keep Meteor City open for another couple of decades. We almost lost this place, and man, it was just like sort of a regular gift shop, some petrified wood and all that stuff. Back in the day when I used to come here, we'd grab a Mountain Dew or whatever. It's been a long time since there was any gas being pumped out at Meteor City. They don't even have a gas station out here anymore. No pumps, no nothing. But that's how it started its life way back in the 1930s as a Texaco gas station and trading post owned by a guy named Joe Sharber. And then in 1941, Sharber sold the place to Jack Newsom, who lived out here all by himself, and he called the place Meteor City. And there was a sign here forever that said Meteor City population 1, which was an interesting and effective way to get highway travelers to be amused and maybe stop in, get a Coke. That is until he met and married a lady named Goldie, and he had to change the sign to read Meteor City population 2, and it's actually back up to that population now. The guy that was running it inside and his wife, they are living on the property. They are the current caretakers. Are running this place day to day. So once again, Meteor City has a population of 2. As you can see, the fence is now locked and closed. So we were the last people through the Dino drive-thru today. I am so stoked that I made it. I am so stoked, so grateful to that guy. I didn't catch his name for keeping the place open just for an extra 30 minutes or so. Not for me, they had no idea that I was coming. Apparently they were really slow yesterday though, and they wanted to make up for it and park their own truck out here, and monkey see, monkey do. Sure enough, people came in from the side of the highway, as you can see here. Until Memorial Day, they are open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. I think we're only like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes away west of Winslow, Arizona, not far from Flagstaff, Arizona, which is just back there where you see the mountains off in the distance over there. It's like, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes away. It was always a great stop in the desert. It's not far from the very famous Meteor Crater, one of the largest preserved meteor craters that's easy to access on planet Earth, and a major Route 66 attraction, actually a major attraction period going way back before the days of Route 66, way back to the railroad days, just for generations and generations. I've never actually been out there, but I take that back. During the band days, we did drive out there and use the restrooms at like the little visitor center or whatever, but I've never paid to go up and look down into the giant hole, as it's a little pricey. A little bit pricey to look into Meteor Crater, but I've always wanted to go. I will be going. I think this year, 2026, might be my year. We'll see. I always say that. I can't remember who, but somebody had a stand-up comedy bit about how they went to the Meteor Crater and women were not interested in the hole at all, but men were like, oh, pretty good hole. And he was theorizing how like young boys will grow up just digging a hole for no reason. So they're like, oh, look at the size of this hole. Impressive. I don't know. That was his theory, not mine. Who was that? Billy Campbell? I can't remember who in the world had that little bit going. Might have been in Billy Campbell's Route 66 book, or it might have been a stand-up comedian. I can't remember. Maybe somebody knows what I'm talking about, and we'll leave it in the comments. This has been a very healing trip for me, even though it's only been 3 or 4 days out of the house. I always tell people, right, a big resort or theme park getaway is cool and worth your time and money. But for the same amount of money, you can come out onto the American road and have an adventure unlike any other. It's not for everybody. I know some people that absolutely can't stand long drives or long road trips. But to me, even solo, even by myself, I find something just healing and soul-soothing about being out here on the open road on the highway. And now, my friends, I gotta get back on the freeway and head straight into the setting sun. I don't know whether this was our last stop or not. Let's keep the camera rolling, see how far we get. This is awesome. The past 3 or 4 days, we've seen so many Route 66 revivals. I'm sorry it took me almost a year to get out here, but yes, Meteor Crater lives. I'm sorry, Meteor Craters always live. That's a whole other ground. Meteor! I keep almost trying to say media. Meteor City lives! I'm so freaking pumped up right now, dude. So pumped up. Hopefully that pumped upness gets me all the way back home to California. I love you, Route 66. And Route 66 loves you back. All right, let's head back to Flagstaff, Arizona. This time we can forget Winona, because we went there the other day. Dude, that drive was far more brutal than I expected, for one simple fact, that the sun was burning my eyes right out of their sockets. Even as it lowered to the ground, it was just right at eye level. Somehow the road just kept pointing straight in to the sunset, but now I've rolled into the sleepy, beautiful little town of Williams, Arizona, the gateway to the Grand Canyon, where not only has the sun finally dropped below the horizon, but the temperature has now also dropped precipitously. Look at that, there's the old train depot right here next to downtown. This is usually where I choose to use the restroom because I love to give Smokey the Bear a hug whenever I can. You can see everything is just lighting up at night here. Just truly one of the most gorgeous towns on Route 66, pound for pound. It's not quite 7 o'clock yet. The cool thing is behind this historic depot that is now a visitor center, and it's very beautiful. It's a fine old train station building, but the trains no longer come to it. No more tracks running alongside this bad boy. The number of tracks here in Williams has been reduced, but just behind it is the fully armed and operational train station at Williams, the Grand Canyon Railroad Station. This is where you take these lovely old vintage train cars up to the Grand Canyon. Something I've never done, but always wanted to. I believe my friend Adam, speaking of him, did do it once. Although I don't think I ever saw that video, so I could be wrong. I do remember him sending me pictures of the train though. Speaking of the Grand Canyon, that's where I hoped to be for sunset on my way back home. I still have about, I don't know, 6.5 hours, something like that to go. It'd be a lot more if I was gonna hit traffic, but we're already pretty far beyond rush hour, even as is right now. Yeah, look at that. Look at these old railroad cars. These ones are decorated for Christmas on the inside and all lit up for some reason. Which reminds me, I saw a Bumble while I was rolling into town. I'm just walking down here all the way to the station. 1, to stretch my legs, give the car a break, but 2, to use the restroom, to use the facilities. There's a big hotel over here right adjacent to the station and a very fine restaurant in here. So I'm just hoping the restrooms are still open. If the last train for the day hasn't come back yet, fingers crossed, we might be in luck. We might be in luck. Oh yes, the lights are on. Huzzah! Uh-oh, 6:30. Rats. Dude, the crazy thing is, okay, and I'm not really one for ghosts. I don't know if ghosts as such really exist. I thought that was open because I saw a person walking back and forth in there. And then I looked and they were gone. So either there's an employee hiding from me because the place is locked up for the night, or maybe I saw a spirit, or I saw one of the sweaters for sale in the gift shop and just my brain played a trick on me there. Well, my brilliant plan to walk all the way down here to find a restroom may have backfired on me. Look at that thing right there. What the heck is that? Whatever it is, it's awesome. Everything over here is very closed. And now that my brain tricked itself, very creepy, but I'm sure I'll find another restroom. Just look at this, gorgeous. Got the platform all to ourselves. Okay, luckily the restaurant is still open, and the gift shop, and the restrooms inside. I may not have eaten at the restaurant, but I can now highly, highly recommend it. Whoo, that was close. Now look at this in the parking lot, an old locomotive seemingly from an incline railway. Manitou and Pikes Peak Railway. I've been out here like a zillion times. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Man, the time was back in the day where I could drive for 24 hours straight. I would leave Los Angeles, drive all the way to Dallas, Texas without switching co-pilots, or rather without switching out with the co-pilot. It's getting a little harder for me to do things like that. I gotta pace myself. I gotta walk around. I gotta stop a lot. And life seems to be getting so much shorter, right? None of us know when the end will come, which is why, as Adam's dad said, it's so important to take death seriously. It was starting to dawn on me lately that I'm probably not gonna be able to squeeze in all the things I wanna do in this life. It really does make me appreciate the things I do get to do, right? If I have a chance to stop in Williams, take a little walk around, just makes me appreciate it on a whole different level. Something ancient people understood very well. That's why you always see the phrase repeated, especially on tombstones. Memento mori, remember death. Something so strange about it, because by remembering death, somehow mystically, it almost makes you feel more alive. Or to put it in other words, the immortal words of my good friend, Bob Gurr, while alive, live. Dude, and if that's what he preaches, nobody has practiced what he preached like Bob Gurr. Or, for that matter, like my good friend, Adam the Woo, who loved this town, Williams, and loved this guy, the king, Elvis Aaron Presley. And both of them were born in Tupelo, Mississippi. How about that? Just had to come pay my respects to the world's largest metal Route 66 shield. Dude, look at the size of this thing. It's amazing that somehow it still holds the title. And that shield is certainly not lonely. They got a lot of historic Route 66 signs in here from several different states. I always love the sunflower one from Kansas. I love that they have this classic car out front with Elvis at the wheel as well. Apparently, Elvis Presley is all over this freaking shop. You know, not every store in Williams is exactly camera friendly, which is too bad because there are so many funny displays and mannequins all over the place. It's one of those weird towns where you can buy almost anything. Crystals, knives, Native American pottery, gas, liquor, groceries, fine cigars, anything you want, they got it. Which is why it's the perfect town to be the gateway to the Grand Canyon. You can supply or resupply yourself with whatever you need here in Williams before you set out on your adventure. So I love coming to this town so much. A lot of these shops are like old familiar friends, but every once in a while something opens I have never seen before. Like this, the Pooseum. It says established 2014. I don't know if I have ever noticed this before. It's entirely possible. Lately, my brain is not what it used to be. But look at that, a free museum with the world's largest dinosaur poop collection. Those are known as coprolites. If I knew of the Pooseum's existence before, I've at least never been inside of it before, and I don't know why I wouldn't go in any free museum. Normally, if I see the sign, free museum in any place, in any town, I pop right in, like I just did in Louisiana on my vision quest back home for my friend's funeral. Look at this right here, this little plaque. It says this was the old Whiskey Alley Saloon, built in 1910 and used as a flap house for lumberjacks and sawmill workers who slept in the loft above the common area. And then when Route 66 came to town, it was run as a Mexican food restaurant, which must have seemed very exotic to travelers from Illinois back then. Anyway, I can now see the little sliver of a fingernail of the moon up there. The sun is well and truly down. It won't be in my eyes anymore. I am placing the very last of my rest in peace Adam the Woo stickers that some kind gentleman sent to me right here in Williams, Arizona, because every time he came through this town, he would send me a selfie of himself next to the Williams sign, because that was indeed his real last name. He would always say, dude, what if I moved to Williams? Can you imagine? Yes, indeed, I can imagine. And here you have the Red Garter upstairs. That's a, I guess sort of like a bed and breakfast, sort of like a hotel accommodations. I think some of the rooms have shared bathrooms because it's very, very old school. But it used to famously be run as a brothel, which is why you have this lady hanging out of the window. I have often thought about staying here. I don't want to share a bathroom though, and they don't appear to have microwaves, which I normally need. There's another plaque there. Said it offered female company in 8 different cribs. Those would be the little rooms upstairs, and this building actually stopped a devastating fire that was burning through town and once boasted a 2-story outhouse in the back, or maybe in the side over here, maybe in the little beer garden. I wonder if they've ever located exactly where that 2-story outhouse was. Anyway, and on that crappy note, the 2-story outhouse and the Pooseum, time for me to roll out of Williams, keep making my way west. There's just one problem, which is the old bug slayer I'm driving in has slayed many of its enemies right on this windshield. Gotta pull into Circle K real quick. This isn't just any old Circle K. This is the very same Circle K seen in the film Midnight Run with Charles Grodin and Robert De Niro, sitting right here in Williams, Arizona, the last town bypassed on Route 66. That's why so many of the buildings here are so well preserved. This thing wasn't cut off by the interstate until 1984, which means if Route 66 was running through here and active in 1983, I was born in to the last year of old Route 66. How about that? Yes, that's right. I'm old. Dude, if you're gonna stop at a gas station to clean your windshield, it might as well be the Circle K from Midnight Run, right? Man, I always feel sorry leaving this place. Look at all of that freaking neon. Also, the inside of this windshield, still not all that fresh. I guess I've been breathing a little too hard or something. Ugh. Anyway, I can fix that when I get home. Dude, don't get me wrong. I like Southern California. It is my home. I was born and raised there in Orange County. But I don't really love the fact that the part I'm in is so claustrophobic. I love being out on the open road. If I could afford it, I would almost never stop. What I've been doing since I was 16 years old, traveling as often as I possibly can. I haven't regretted 1 minute of it. I haven't seen much of Europe or any other place. Little Mexico, a very little Mexico, a tiny little bit of Canada, and I like those places too. France, England, done a little traveling there, but if I never get to see most of Europe or Asia or all those far-flung destinations, I don't think I'll regret it as long as I can see as much of America as I can, man. That old expression, see America first, it's just so true. I feel that in my bones. What a beautiful continent, and I feel very fortunate and grateful to be able to live here and see a lot of it. All right, we've now exited Williams. Got to get back on the interstate. I think my time on old Route 66 is mostly done. According to the map here, I've got 6 hours and 20 minutes left to go. I think I might make one more stop, one final stop, other than bathroom breaks and stretching my legs and stuff. One more stop on camera, and then we'll end today's adventure. If I survive, that is. People have been hitting deer left and right already out here. It's not even fully dark yet. But you know what? I say that, and it did not take long for that reality to change. I hopped back onto old Route 66 just one more time, like I said, to cruise down the 2 miles from the interstate into Seligman, Arizona. And let me tell you, you know that part in the movie Cars where Lightning McQueen falls off the trailer, falls out of Mac, and then he's on that weird little road and ends up in Radiator Springs? Nothing feels as much like that on Route 66 as that eastmost exit and the little curve into Seligman. I don't know how well you can see it, but there's all the trucks out there passing by on the highway. They don't even know what they're missing. You know what I mean? And then look at this. Out from the darkness, we roll into town, surrounded by the glowing lights of the motels, the gift shops. Look how quiet everything is. Nobody's around at the old Delgadillo Snowcap. Nobody's around at Route 66 Road Relics. Nobody's around at Angel and Vilma's gift shop. Everything's peaceful at the Deluxe Inn, and the Canyon Lodge, the Supai down the road. That's why I love staying in Seligman whenever I get a chance. It's so quiet out here at night. So peaceful. It really is so quiet that if there was a traffic light hanging up anywhere, you would start tripping out and thinking every third blink was slower. And oh yes, look at that beautiful neon right there on the Supai Motel. I've stayed here many times. Pretty tempted to stay right now. This camera that I have with me on this particular trip is not equal to my need, because I highly doubt you'll be able to see it at all, but the stars are so bright out here, even in the heart of downtown Seligman. Dude, I love that neon sign. I just parked out here on the side of the road for about 10 minutes trying to answer some of the multitude of text messages that I have been ignoring for the past several days. 2 ladies walked by that are on their way back to their hotel room over here, over at the Deluxe Inn. But not one single car has rolled through here since I've been standing here. I've seen a couple of headlights down at the other end of town, you know, down on the far side. You can see some down there, but they keep turning into neighborhoods. So quiet out here. Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you, the Canyon Lodge or the Postcard Motel down the road are sounding pretty tempting right now. I'm pretty tired. I still have something like 6.5 hours to go. What's that flashing? Oh, it's the rusty bolt over here. Light pollution. Something like 6.5 hours ago. Hey, our first car. Oh no, it's turning. It's not even gonna pass me. No cars have passed me for 10 minutes. What the heck? It's only 8 o'clock in the evening. But as I mentioned the other day when we were walking around here in the real life Radiator Springs, that is perfectly normal. That has been my experience every time I'm here. The sidewalk rolls up around 5, 6 o'clock, depending on the time of year, and everything goes quiet. Except that dog. He keeps barking. Look at that. Radiator Springs, indeed. This kind of stuff, man, I have to stop. I have to soak it in for a little while, because it's not like this back in Anaheim, California. I'll tell you that much right now. I wonder why record numbers of people are stressed and feeling depressed and lonely and isolated. I just don't think we were meant to live the way that we live sometimes, you know? That's why I know maybe if I moved to a small town, I've said it before, maybe I'd go stir crazy and hate it, you know, actually living there, but that is definitely why I like to visit. I like to soak in that kind of quiet, that stillness, drink up the small town vibes, especially at night like this. Like it's water to a thirsty, dying man. Anyway, oh, look at this. Oh, it didn't pass us. Nobody wants to pass me right here. What the heck? Anyway, I would love for this to be my life all the time, but it's not. Got a son and a wife to get back to. I've got birthdays to attend, tikis to carve, airplanes to catch, a life to live. But this is a little slice of my life, and one that I have had a lot of pleasure in getting to share. It's my honor, my privilege to take you out on the road with me, especially whenever we get to come out on Route 66, the main street of America. And this particular portion happens to be the very quietest block on the main street of America. Ooh, I thought there was a car right behind me. It's way down the road. You can hear them coming from miles away. Just like I can hear the bar, the Black Cat Lounge, from way down on the other side of town. I can hear the music playing, and is this car gonna turn? Let's see what happens. Oh, it finally happened. It finally went down. A car passed us. Well, I guess that really is the end. Ladies and gentlemen, to help keep me on the road, we do have a Patreon. We've got a merch store where you can buy my hot sauce book, hats, all that kind of stuff. That's all I'm gonna say about that for the moment. Thank you for watching. Thank you for giving it the thumbs up, for subscribing, for sharing with your friends. It's been a real pleasure for me. But for now, we've done our duty. It's time for me to go home and sleep well. See you next time. It really sucks that people have to smash and destroy everything, because you almost guarantee that the place will never be able to reopen as anything. So please, if you ever come to some place like this, like, don't smash stuff. Come on, man. It's just rude. Also, I think we better be going because it looks like dun dun dun. Some guy named Satan was here.